big crash into the wall for Franco Colapinto. Colapinto finds the barriers. It is a red flag.
Hey guys, Jay here, and this is it, the final stretch of the season. Man, what a Grand Prix weekend we had a few weeks ago. We had everything. We had the red flags, we even had a black flag, and we had Max Verstappen dominating from the back right to the front. Also, I don't know about you, but I got cooked. 83 points. So, first and foremost, I made the mistake of bringing in Alexander Albon for Zhou Guan Yu, despite knowing the likelihood of the DNFs, because I liked Albon's pace during practice. That was a huge mistake, because he didn't even get to start the race from memory. So yeah, and I kept faith with Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz. Lando got the win in the sprint, thanks to Oscar letting him through, but dropped the ball in the race. And Carlos got a DNF of his own. And unfortunately, so did Franco, got a DNF. I still rate Franco. I'm not mad at Franco, but yeah, cooked. Absolutely cooked. So bad that I've dropped down to 68,583. So, having said that, most players did seem to go for the triple McLaren, along with Colapinto. Surprisingly, not many people had the two Ferraris. A lot of people did go for Hulkenberg, which unfortunately he got that black flag, which wasn't technically his fault. But yeah, the triple McLaren didn't really pay off, I don't think, in the end. But that was the meta. I did have a look on F1 Fantasy Tracker as well. And I'll be honest, I'm liking this team here of Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Franco Colapinto, Zhou Guan Yu, and Valtteri Bottas with McLaren and Ferrari. That's probably the team I am considering, if I'm completely honest. Now, as for my team, I've got 3 transfers available to me. My budget is around 125 million. I am going to wait to see the results of practice, but the first thing in my mind is, sorry Alex, goodbye, and welcome back Joe. You know, he scored 9 points in Brazil, partly thanks to those DNFs, 4 places gained. That would be my first pick, and then it would be whether I keep faith with Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz, whether I go for a triple Ferrari, which is what I'm strongly considering, and I'll show you why in a sec, or I go for what's been working for my second test team, Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. So at the moment I'm minded to either go for this team or this team. I don't want to rule out Lando, but let's face it, the Drivers' Championship is done, and you know, Papaya rules is out the window now in terms of, you know, favouring Lando or prioritising Lando. It's now going to be both drivers for themselves, but you know, as long as the team get the points. But yeah, so those are my options, but at the moment, you know, wait and see for practice and that. Now, the other reason I'm thinking of the triple Ferrari is if we go over to last year's results. Charles Leclerc came in 2nd and Carlos Sainz came in 6th. We see here the 2 Red Bulls, Max Verstappen in 1st, Sergio Perez in 3rd. I'm not expecting Sergio Perez to be on the podium this season, if I'm completely honest. But the 2 Ferraris in the top 6. The outlier here would be Lance Stroll. Obviously, the Aston Martin not doing well this year. And, I mean, Lance Stroll couldn't even get through the formation lap in Brazil. Esteban Ocon finished in 4th in the Alpine. Who knows, after they had a terrific result in Brazil. The Mercs finished 7th and 8th. I would expect them to be around here, like maybe a push for 4th and 3rd, but I would favour the Ferraris, I think. The other issue I've got here is that last year there was only one DNF, and that was Lando Norris. So, could lightning strike twice? That's my concern there. So, yeah. So that's my result for Brazil. That's the massive drop in the league. And the team I'm considering. So I'd like to know what you think. Now, that said, final thoughts going into the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Are Williams cooked? I hope not, but apparently they are low on spare parts, plus too many DNFs for Albon. So, as we know, Albon has had the most DNFs. Just find it here. No, sorry, he hasn't. Logan Sargent did, but obviously he's not here anymore. But yeah, Alexander Albon has had 6 DNFs. Plus, whoops, if we go over to F1Planet.com, where is it? Williams reveal Las Vegas spec conundrum with spare parts shortage. So they've got a concern over spare parts. 5 big crashes in 10 days have Williams facing a conundrum ahead of Las Vegas, as the team has yet to tally their remaining spare parts and could be forced to mix and match. And a bit further down here, it had team boss James Vowles revealing they don't know yet what specs either FW46 will feature at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. There's no team on the grid that can cope with 5 major accidents in 2 race weekends. Vowles said in his latest Vowles verdict on the Williams app. Simply the matter of spares we carry are not sufficient to carry that amount of attrition. Vegas, I have high hopes for. We were fast there last year, and I'm confident the car will work well with these conditions. So, where did they finish last year? They finished last year, Alexander Albon finished in 12th, and Logan Sargent finished in 16th, if I put my teeth back in. But they are low on spare parts, and that makes them highly vulnerable to, not even starting the race if they crash in qualifying, etc. Bring Zhou back, possibly. I made this mistake for Brazil despite the high likelihood of DNFs, and look what happened. That said, only 1 DNF in 2023, Lando Norris, which we looked at a minute ago. So again, if I go to the driver statistics, I'm actually going to go to the value for money first of all. Points per million. See, Zhou here is 11th with 0.36, whereas Albon is all the way down in 20th with negative 0.05. But also, again, to be fair, the only DNF last year was Lando Norris. So DNFs might not be likely for Vegas. So we'll have to wait and see. Any car upgrades, Red Bull will be giving RB20 rear car parts for the final 3 races. So again, this is on F1Planet.com. VCarb make major Red Bull change ahead of Las Vegas Grand Prix. VCarb will be running with an updated rear on its car for the final 3 races, taking on components from Red Bull's RB20 for the rest of the season. With Red Bull and VCarb becoming more closely technically aligned, the VCarb 01 will receive the rear suspension and gearbox from the Red Bull RB20 for the final 3 races of the 2024 season, and the RB20 being this season's car. So this brings back the debate of whether sister teams should be allowed in Formula 1, because what we're essentially saying is, if you think of this in terms of football, RB is an affiliate team of Red Bull, where in football terms they would send their players out on loan, or they might have a pre-season friendly where RB would get all the money. In this case, it's Formula One, so Red Bull can go, hey, we have some spare parts, here you go. At least that's how this is sounding to me. So I'm not comfortable with this personally, unless it's a misunderstanding on my part, but that's essentially what we're saying is, you know, season nearly over, hey, we've got some spare parts, here you go. Yeah, what do you think? I don't think that's fair, personally. After Verstappen's win, is it worth bringing Red Bull back in? No, I still think Perez is a reliability. He had that spin in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Yeah, I just don't think, as great as Verstappen was, and I hate to admit that, RB, the constructor, I don't think it's worth it. At least not right now. And then finally, I ran out of space at the bottom of my card. But weather-wise, we're looking fine. I believe the race is at 10 o'clock at night in Vegas. It's going to be 6 a.m. here in the UK, so it's going to be an early morning for us in the UK. But yeah, 7-mile-an-hour wind. It's going to be fine. No issues with weather or anything like that, so it should be a straightforward race. Now, finally, guys, we've had 3 weeks of no racing, but we have had 3 weeks of a lot of news. So I've got another little segment here in case you missed it. So the F1 race director Niels Wittich to step down. That was on f1.com, and you'll have to excuse me because I've got to play around with a bunch of different tabs here. So the FIA Formula One race director Niels Wittich has left his role with immediate effect. Wittich has been in the job since 2022, initially sharing it with Eduardo Freitas as dual replacements for Michael Massey after the 2021 incident, before taking on the job full-time in 2023. But on Tuesday, the FIA announced Wittich had stepped down and would be replaced by Rui Marquez from the upcoming Las Vegas Grand Prix onwards. So Niels Wittich has stepped down after the Brazilian Grand Prix, and I'm pretty sure I saw something somewhere saying that he'd actually been sacked, but I can't find it now, unfortunately, so I don't know. But he has stepped down. And just a little side note here, Dan Fallows, you see there's a link here, Dan Fallows to leave role as Aston Martin technical director ahead of Newey arrival. And again, there's a link for that if you want to check that out. So that's the first part of news. Second part, Bassari leaves role as FIA compliance officer. This is on BBC Sport. Paolo Bassari has left his position as the compliance officer of Formula One's governing body, the FIA. Multiple sources, both at and close to the FIA, said the Italian had been fired as a consequence of FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem losing confidence in him. Bassari is said to have pushed back against or tried to navigate around a number of requests of bin Sulayem, who took exception to that approach. The FIA has declined to comment, while Bassari told BBC Sport, "I cannot comment on this." Make your own conclusions there. We know bin Sulayem has been under a lot of scrutiny recently, so make your own conclusions there. But I do find it a bit ironic that Niels Wittich leaves and then the compliance officer then leaves as well, within the same time frame. I think is a little, I don't think it's a coincidence, personally. The head of F1, and then on that, head of F1 owner to leave role at a key time for sport. And that is talking about this man here, who is Greg Maffei. I think I've pronounced that right. I hope I have. Greg Maffei is to step down from his role as President and Chief Executive Officer of Formula One owner Liberty Media at the end of the year. The 64-year-old American has been pivotal in the development of F1 since US company Liberty bought its commercial rights in 2017. His role will be taken by Liberty Media Chairman John Malone on an interim basis from the 1st of January, while Maffei stays on to support the management transition. The FIA will be leaving at a key time for F1. The commercial deals that bind the teams to the sport are being renegotiated before they expire at the end of 2025. The sport is also facing an investigation from the US Department of Justice over its rejection of an entry bid from American racing organization Andretti. And there's a link to that. I haven't read this personally, but apparently, yeah, there is a case going on regarding Andretti's refusal into F1. Next, good news. F1 Fantasy 2024 Las Vegas League competitions. So for you fellow F1 Fantasy players out there, I believe this is still available to join the Viva Las Vegas League. Want to experience the sights and sounds of F1 cars battling wheel to wheel in Las Vegas? Well, F1 Fantasy is giving you and a friend a chance to be there next season and do just that. Basically, the winner will get 2 tickets to the race, and a bunch of other people are going to win. I believe it's caps. So yeah, it's a 1 race competition. You can only enter 1 team, so I've entered my main team. But yeah, be sure to join that as soon as possible before the weekend if you want to enter that competition. F1 first ever season launch / 75th anniversary. So yep, Formula One has announced a groundbreaking season launch event at London's The O2, featuring all the teams, their drivers and team bosses, plus top entertainment ahead of the 2025 campaign. This is taking place in February. I believe tickets range from about £53 or like £119. I did think about it. I did consider going, but it starts at 8 o'clock, which this can sound really stupid, but it's too late for me because of the distance. Because of my medication and my health, it's just not ideal for me. So I decided not to buy a ticket, and I'm kind of glad because I'm a little skeptical about this, because Lawrence Barretto did a sort of Q&A thing about it, and you see here, what about the new 2025 cars themselves? Don't we see them then? You'll need to wait a little longer to see those, as teams will be pushing to get them ready to go before packing them up and shipping them to Bahrain for pre-season testing. Instead, you'll see the 2025 liveries on show cars. So yeah, I don't think you're going to be seeing the cars. Maybe the liveries, but not the cars. So I've got a bad feeling they're going to hype this all up, and it's not going to be what people were hoping to see, if I'm completely honest. I do hope I'm wrong. And then Alpine to use Mercedes power units and gearboxes from 2026 was another thing that I found. So yeah, Alpine will be using Mercedes gearboxes from 2026. Alpine have secured a deal with Mercedes to run the German manufacturer's power unit from 2026 until at least the end of 2030. So at least, what's that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 seasons. Obviously, Renault have decided to stop providing their engines, and Alpine will become a works team. So, sorry, yeah, I think I've got that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long weekend. Anyway, so that's all the latest. Only other thing is obviously Black Friday sales going on. Being a McLaren fan, I myself purchased a team shirt, and I'll put a little silly photo of me so you can see it. But yeah, sales going on, 40% I believe total on McLaren if you're a member. I'm pretty sure other teams have got sales going on. I know Mercedes have got a sale going on, but you know, Black Friday sales for your favourite team if you want to get some merch before the end of the season. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Sorry it's a bit rushed. I was away this weekend, and I'm hoping to get this video out for tomorrow, Tuesday. If not, it'll be Wednesday. But obviously we've had a 3-week break, so I've had to refresh my memory on stuff that happened during the Brazilian Grand Prix. as well as like try and, I guess, fill in some like gaps, like, you know, because a lot has happened, especially within the F1 organization itself, which is kind of concerning, to be honest. So yeah, let me know what team you're running for Las Vegas, and let me know how you did in Brazil. Hopefully you did better than me, because let's face it, I just got obliterated. And yeah, I'll hopefully talk to you next week for Qatar, which it will be the last sprint race of the season, last sprint weekend of the season. And in terms of, you know, the real life championship, let's face it, Max has won it. But I'm still gonna back Ferrari to sneak in at the end and maybe claim the constructors. I hope not. I hope McLaren do, because obviously they're my team. But I just got a feeling it's gonna be that year for McLaren where they had one hand on it and then dropped it. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will speak to you soon. All the best.